Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Trucker Talk with me, Trucker Todd. This has been a crazy day, and I just got here about 15 minutes before the show was supposed to start. Wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to do a show tonight. Anyway, I don't know how many people will be here, how many people got notifications, how many people will get them here in a few minutes. So we'll kind of drag our feet for a few minutes, give people time to get in here. And then I'll tell you about all the craziness that is happening to me right now, currently, all the way back to Wednesday. As you know, the last show we did was a week ago today on Tuesday. Had to cancel the Thursday show because I was making a delivery. But I'll tell you what's going on with the truck, the APU, everything. You're not going to believe it. But first, let's say hello to some people that did get the notifications or remembered we were going to have a show tonight and made an appearance. It looks like the first one in tonight was Gary Cook. Good evening, Trucker Todd. I'm listening from Indianapolis this evening on my way to St. Louis, Missouri. I appreciate you being here, Gary. Thanks for coming in. And Tim Back is here. It's about time somebody decided to show his face. Yeah, you'll understand when I tell you about this week. And Jonah Green is here. Good evening, my friend. Also, Michael made it in. Thank you for being here. Tim Back is in Chicago on his way to Dubuque, Iowa tomorrow via Greyhound. Man, I wouldn't wish Greyhound on anybody, but I know about the adventure you're about to participate in, and I'm excited for you. I talked to, well, you know who I talked to earlier today, and I got some good news on my behalf too, and I'll share that with you guys as well tonight. So now that we've got a few people in here, still kind of a small crowd, but let's go ahead and talk about what happened, and those that missed it can catch it on the replay. So going back to Wednesday, I had a load that was supposed to deliver on Thursday morning in Plainview, Texas, and Thursday evening in Lubbock, Texas. I got to town Wednesday afternoon. I called the Thermal King dealer, and they said, run your truck by here and we'll take a look at the APU. So I took my truck in. They pulled it right in the bay, said, drop your trailer over there, pull around to this bay. Pulled it in. The belt was bad, like I thought. We found some other issues. My alternator is starting to make a little bit of noise, so in the coming months, I'm probably going to need an alternator later this year. They did not recommend changing it at this point, but said that at some point they feel like I might need an alternator. But they did, after they got the belt on it, it was running kind of rough. They found some filters that were dirty and cleaned those up for me. But it had the old style plastic fuel pump on it, which they said was junk. Basically, they called it junk, and said that it needed to be retrofitted with a newer pump design that was better. And so they ended up doing a fuel pump on it as well. Now the APU runs great. So Thursday, I made my 2 deliveries, and that's why there wasn't a Thursday show. But I noticed that I had an air leak, and it had had one for a while. It, if you parked it for 20 or 30 minutes, the seats would go down on you. I knew I had a slow leak somewhere. I'd mentioned it at Love's before. They hadn't been able to find it. I couldn't find it, but the leak was starting to get worse, and I knew that I needed to do something about it. Now, my son, you guys know, is a diesel mechanic. He's got like 15 ASE certifications. And so Friday morning, I ran it down to his shop, and we looked it over and determined that there was a small crack in the secondary tank. And so he knew a guy that had a welding shop. We ran it over there, and the guy was going to fix the crack in the tank. Well, the guy tried, he made it worse. It ended up with a hole in the tank. And so I called around, I found a wrecking yard that said they had a tank. but they were getting ready to close at that point, and they said I'd have to pick it up on Monday. But, I'd give them the VIN number. I told them everything about it. Oh, yeah, this tank is going to work. So before I jump into that, let me say hi to a few more people before we get behind. David Riverman is here. Good evening. First time listening. Thanks for being here. Glad to have you. Hop in with any questions or concerns, and we'll get to them as quick as we can. Tom Bell is here. He's with his wife in Shadydale, Georgia. I bet it's as hot here as it is there, but I bet the humidity there, it's probably awful there. Tim Back is no longer a company driver. Yes, sir. Taking a big step. Roger says, good evening, Todd. Good evening, my friend. Also, Brian Walton is here. Hey, man, glad you could make it. And Michael Cabanas is here. I hope I'm saying that right. Anyway, so Monday morning rolls around. And by the way, I had a load that was supposed to pick up Monday morning. So on Friday, I had to cancel that load. It was a load paying $3.58 a mile going from Lubbock, Texas to Colorado. And I really, really hated to lose that load. But that's neither here nor there. That happened. So Monday rolls around. I go down there pretty early in the morning, go look at the tank, and it wasn't even close to being right. The ports were in the wrong spots. Nothing was laid out on it like I needed it to be. And so it wouldn't work. So I contacted PACCAR because they said, oh, it's got to be a dealer item then. PACCAR says, yeah, we can get the tank, but they don't stock them. They'll have to hand make it, and it's $1,100. And you'd have to move all your fittings over from your current one to this one. And we can't give you a timeline of when we get it. Basically, they hand make it, and you'll get it when you get it. So I went home and spent the rest of Friday and most of the weekend looking online for somebody that had a used tank in the country. Could not find one that would work. Had a part number, all of that. So Monday morning, wait a second. Yeah, Monday morning, I started calling around. I found a shop that afternoon here that does metal fabrication. And they said, oh, yeah, Todd, we fix tanks like this all the time. They said, probably won't get it done today. Should have it done tomorrow, which would have been today. They said for Bruckner's, which is a dealer here in Lubbock, they do tank repairs like this all the time. So I left the tank there. I went back this afternoon. First, they told me the welder was in the bathroom. And then they told me he had left early for a family emergency. But either way, the tank would not be ready till tomorrow about noon. So the problem with that is remember that diesel mechanic son that I told you about that was helping me do all of this? Well, he's leaving town at 8 o'clock in the morning to go on vacation and won't be back till like Tuesday. And so I'm going to have to do it all by myself. Problem is, I did half the work and he did half the work. So I don't know quite where everything goes as far as some of the braces, some of the bolting, some of that stuff. So me and him are going to have to video call, and he's going to have to kind of walk me through part of it by myself tomorrow. You kind of need a person up top and on the bottom. So I may have to recruit my wife to help me or try to find somebody around here to help me finish the repair tomorrow. It was 103 degrees today here in Lubbock. So, if they don't get it done till noon tomorrow, it's probably going to be 103, 105 tomorrow when I'm trying to fix it. And as you guys know, I don't do great in the heat, but I'm just going to have to get out there and do my best. Losing that Monday load really hurt, though, because I would have picked it up Monday, delivered it on Tuesday today. Or not right. I'm not telling you right. I would have picked it up on Wednesday, would have delivered it on Thursday, got a check on Friday, and now I'm probably looking at a Monday or Tuesday check. And I'm spending money like a rock star down here right now. So over $1,000 so far between gas and parts and stuff. So really need to get back to work and really need things to go well for a while. So a couple things other that we need to talk about. You might notice I'm using a different headset. This is that headset that I'm testing for that company, doing a review on it. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I've been using it for phone calls, and now I'm using it with my computer just to see how it does. It is a solar powered headset, and hopefully I'll have some videos coming out about that pretty soon. I just want to use it for 2 or 3 weeks before I make any videos about it. Also, you guys might remember when I started this company, my starter went out on the truck that I had just bought from the dealership. And the owner of the company I'm working for, I basically assisted him, and he put a starter on this truck. The dealership announced today that they will be reimbursing me the $501 for the starter. So I was really excited about that. And I'm by no means implying that, if you have a situation, they would do that for you or they might do that for you. I think that kind of thing would be a case by case basis. But there is a couple of things I do want to say about that dealership. And I've got their number down there. Just give Avery a call tomorrow if you've got any questions. They have said that right now they have some really good deals on international LT trucks with the Cummins engine, low mileage, just a little over 300,000. So I know some of you have some reservations about internationals, but if you're credit challenged, if maybe you're a little money challenged, I would encourage you to give Avery a call, tell him your situation, and hey, that international might turn out to be a great starter truck for you. And then later you could move up into your dream truck or something like that. Some of you like international. As for me, I like everything about international except the reverse on the transmission. I love the interior. I love the storage in them. And these are trucks, these internationals that have APUs and a lot of nice features. So, I'm not trying to push international on you or any other brand for that matter. I'm just saying, if you think you might like to do the owner operator thing, or if you're considering a lease purchase somewhere, why not do a lease purchase that doesn't involve a company and that you can actually move the truck to another company if things don't work out where you're at? And so, just give Avery a call tomorrow, hear what he has to say. Tell him you heard me talking about him last night or it'll be last night by the time you talk to him. Say, hey, Trucker Todd was talking about you last night, and I want to find out more about the specials you're running on the internationals. Or he mentioned the internationals, but I really want a Freightliner. Or, I really want a Kenworth or whatever you're into, and see what he says, see what he hits you back with. He might be able to put you a deal together. The one thing I did when I set this up was try to set up a deal for people that don't have perfect credit, that would typically be trapped in a lease purchase. And hey, I'll be honest with you. There was a point this week when I was thinking I might have to go back into a lease purchase. I've pretty much mortgaged the farm on this truck running after I fix this tank. If there's still an issue after that, sorry, I'm getting an Amber Alert. If it continues to have issues, it could sink my battleship too. But I'm going to try to avoid a lease purchase because I'm in a really good deal right now. I'm with a great company. The owners called me every day, and not the stressful call you'd expect. Hey, you need to get back to work. What's your problem? I'm sick of this. Nothing like that. It's been, hey man, you need anything? How's the truck doing? You got an update? It's been concern and compassion and empathy. And so I really appreciate him. But man, it just every day it seems like it's been something here lately. And I'm looking forward to returning to work. Non-trucking related, stepkids came to town from Indiana, and we spent the last few days with them in between working on the truck and had a great time with them too. they had not met, especially the daughter hadn't met some of my family, and so she was able to meet them. And one of my cousins was having a birthday. We had a great time with them, and so it's been to be a broke down trip. It's been a great few days. But anyway, I'll jump back into a few of your comments, and I'm sure you guys will have some questions. Good evening, Mo. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I bet. 93 in Georgia is like 120 everywhere else just because of the humidity. Abandon says, howdy, Todd. That's a funny title, by the way. I like that. Abandoned PJ. Headed to Georgia to start the new truck job. Well, there you go. I'm real curious about that company you're going to, Brian. Just because it was one I'd never heard of. I'd looked at it for you, and I'm curious if it's a company I'm going to be recommending to guys, or if it's a company I'm going to be saying, no, don't go there. My good friend Brian says it's a terrible place. Um, so, yeah, stay in touch with me and let me know how it goes over there. Hey, Levi, thanks for being here. Yeah, I looked out on that 358 a mile load, and I really hated to lose it. Right now, they're in there, but you got to look for them, and you got to be quick draw. You got to read quick because you don't want to select on something that you can't do or don't want to do. And everybody is going for it, gunning for it, and so you don't want to miss up a load or miss a load like that when it comes up. I left Swift, shoot, 2 or 3 months ago. I had bought a Volvo and had, it was sitting in storage. I was driving a really nice Swift truck, and I had that itch, kind of like the book Call of the Wild. I wanted to run the spot market again. I wanted to be with a smaller company where I had, less micromanagement, things like that. I went to F2F, which was a great company, and like my second or third week there, I wrecked and totaled that Volvo that I had paid cash for. And so I had to wait at the house for about 6 or 7 weeks for the insurance company to send me a check because it totaled that Volvo. And then I bought this truck I'm currently in, a 2022 Kenworth T680, and I leased it on to the place where I'm at now. And be honest with you, both companies have been great. Looking back on F2F, I don't have anything bad to say about them. They treated me well, always paid me on time. There wasn't any funny business. But this guy that I'm working for now is head and shoulders above anywhere else I've ever worked. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. If I don't make it in this truck because of breakdowns or something like that, it's going to be really, really hard to quit this guy because he's been so good to me. But I think I'm okay now. If that tank gets done in the morning, if I can figure out how to put my truck back together, or if any of you are in the Lubbock area and you're mechanically inclined and you've done this before and you want to help me put it back together, I'd be happy to stand in 105-degree heat with you tomorrow. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So the Swift load board, didn't turn out to be everything that it was advertised to be. And I was beta testing it. And the more details I got, I just decided that long term, it wasn't what I wanted to do. They were toying with the ideas of some micromanagement things. They tried to put cameras in all the trucks, and I got my own insurance, so I didn't have to do that. But I made the most money I've ever made in trucking at Swift, and I enjoyed my time there at Swift. And I'm not saying I would never go back, but it's not something I'm entertaining right now. I think I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing as long as I can physically and mentally and financially afford to do it. 113 in Bridgeport. Yeah, that'd be pretty bad over there too. Hey, Red Raider, thanks for being here. Back to Red Raider real quick. They unloaded me in your place in I mean, 30 or 45 minutes. I was in and out quick. And of course, it was just a few pallets, but sometimes you can go in there with 4 or 5 pallets and be there for a while. But they attacked my load with a fury and got me in and out of there. Exactly. If you want to know what it's like to live in West Texas, set your oven on 350 and climb in. We've got a very dry heat here. If you want to know what it's like to live in Georgia, get your steamer out and put it on the stove and climb in your steamer. You can there in Georgia, you can just sit there and sweat yourself to death. Which that might be my next weight loss thing. Maybe I just need to go sit in Georgia a couple of days. Not yet, Levi. But I did. I have had a conversation with the owner about that within the past week, and I may be doing that before too long. Um, I just want to do it when everything's right. I'd like to do it after I had a month of running good with no truck issues or something like that. But I've told one guy where I worked, and he's currently on his way here. He'll be starting in the next week or two. So I am telling some people. I'm just not announcing it publicly yet. But I don't think it's too far away now. We're definitely nearing the date when I'm gonna openly say where I'm at. Joe is here. Thanks for being here, Joe. I drive a 2021 International LT with the Cummins, and I love it. Yeah, yeah. A lot of people when they say they hate International, they're thinking about the old Pro Stars, and I don't know what it is about the LT that I like better, but it seems like the interior is a little more refined, and it's little stuff like the steering wheel buttons feel better made on the LT than they do on the Pro Star. The cab seems like it seals up better, like it rides quieter. I mean, sleeper, they're basically the same. Some people don't like the fixed bunk in the back. For me, it's not a problem because I've got them down in all my trucks with stuff stored up on top anyway. But everybody knows my favorite's the Peterbilt because the top bunk folds in half. You can use it like a shelf. But for the most part, I like an International truck. Like I said, I don't care for the reverse on them because in all of the Internationals I've drove, the reverse jerks a little. But shoot, we're talking about trucks at this dealer, 350,000 miles with an APU, and that they can finance bad credit. And, I had a good friend of mine this week that went to work for a company as a company driver, and they put him in an International. So a lot of us are already driving Internationals. And if you could have it be yours, then that might be the way to go. Some of you don't like the International engine. And that was one of the first questions I asked when Avery was telling me about those trucks today. And he said, "Oh, no, Todd, they got the Cummins ISX 15s." And I think it's universally agreed that that's a good, powerful engine with a great reputation for reliability. So, like I said, just keep an open mind, give Avery a call, see what he's got. But I know he can make you a really sweet deal on an International right now. Tim says he just got out of an International, overall decent truck, but they're super wobbly, and that reverse is crazy hard to control. The thing I wanted to ask Tim about his International, because I was kind of thinking about him when I was talking about it. Did your International have super singles or did it have doubles on it? Mine wasn't squirrely when I drove it, or the International, the last one I was in, which was probably a 15 or 16. But it just that reverse, man, you'd put it in reverse and it was hard to modulate the power and the speed. And somebody said if you turn off hill assist, it makes it a lot better. I'm sure International has improved things since 2015, 2016. But yeah, that's just something to consider, especially if you're currently driving an International and you're familiar with them. This might be your chance to make the jump. Recently left Swift lease purchase. There were issues getting me home when I needed to be. Um, Yeah, I know what you're talking about there. And what I would say about that is I never did have an issue getting home because I would just deadhead. And most of the time I didn't deadhead very far. A few times I did it from Dallas, but I can think of a couple of times I deadheaded really far. And so, but yeah, when you work for a mega carrier like that, though, you expect them to be able to get you home. You expect them to have lots of freight and not to be sitting. Now, if you're at a small company with 50 trucks, then yeah, you expect to deadhead a little more. You expect, things like that. But when you're at a big mega carrier, whether it's a realistic expectation or not, you just expect them to have lots of freight and you expect some of it to pass by your house and you expect dedicated opportunities to be available. And sometimes they are, sometimes they ain't. So let me talk about Crete. I've looked at Crete's deal. Very seldom do I mention companies that somebody doesn't mention Crete. There's a lot of positive things about Crete. Somebody sent me a deal and they were so impressed with it because Crete was saying that you could get your fuel for 89 cents a mile. Be careful of deals like that because a lot of those deals, they keep your fuel surcharge or you can only fuel where they tell you to fuel, things like that. And sometimes they're really strict where it's only terminal fuel or something like that. And while that's a great idea, it's not always practical, it's not always possible. And so I will tell you if you have a good fuel surcharge and you know how to manage your fuel economy, you can beat that 89 cents a mile that Crete claims you'll pay for fuel or the 99 cents a mile that Hirschbach claims you'll pay for fuel. And you say, well, Todd, how? Well, if you're getting 8 miles a gallon and your fuel surcharge is 50 cents a mile, which that's probably a little high right now, that means $4 a gallon of your fuel surcharge is what you're really getting. So, you know, most of us are buying fuel for under $4 a gallon. And so even if it's uh, whatever numbers you plug in there, you're going to get your fuel a lot less than that, especially if you have an APU like on those internationals, especially if you're pulling lighter loads or in the flatter parts of the country or you have a fuel card that you get great discounts on. By the way, Mudflap is in the description below. You can get $10 off the first time you use that card. You don't have to prepay, nothing like that. Takes about 5 minutes to set up your account. Also, the ES Advantage card, which is the one I recommend. It's a prepaid card. You fill out about 20 seconds worth of information. They'll give you a call a couple days later and tell you about their program, what they got to offer. Some of the things they offer is 2 showers a day at one major truck stop chain and unlimited drink refills at one major truck stop chain, as well as 3 points per gallon in reward points at that same major fuel chain. They don't want me to say the name of the major fuel chain on here, but if you give them a call, they'll tell you on the phone who it is. Yeah, I agree with you, midlife. It there was a time, and we all know when that time was when they had uh, those old uh, those old engines that they were, and I can't even think of what they were now, max force engines. That they were junk. I mean, they almost bankrupted JB Hunt, but they went back to the drawing board, and especially if you get one with a Cummins now, I mean, I wouldn't be afraid to get one. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. I've been coughing. I think it's dry throat. I'm trying to drink lots of liquids. It's so hot here and I've been working out. You might see my skin's kind of red right now, but I'm trying to minimize the coughing as much as I can. It's hard to, we're 30 minutes in. I've been talking for 30 minutes straight. So it wears on your voice, and we've had lives where I lose my voice almost completely. And some of you have been talking to me on the phone where I lose my voice completely because you think, oh, well, Trucker Todd just does this video and then he goes back to a normal life. But I'm wearing this headset while I'm working on the truck. I'm taking calls. So I'm basically talking all day long. Is it your fuel tank or your air tank? It is the air tank. It's the secondary air tank, and it's mounted below the driver's door, right above the battery box, behind that uh, fiberglass skirting that the running boards are in. You must have had something they needed. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it was only like 6 or 8 pallets. And originally, when I showed up, they said it was going to be $151 lumper fee. And they said it was because I guess they had a lot of pallets they had to break it down into or something. But then the guy walked the paperwork out and it was quick. And I was like, wait a second, I hadn't paid the lumper fee yet because I'd already got the code from the broker and everything. He's like, no, there's no lumper fee. And I said, are you sure? Because it's a hassle to cancel them with some of these brokers. And he said, yeah, there's no lumper fee. And so, okay. But I guess they decided not to charge me. I guess it was a pretty easy unload after all. Hey, Todd, sorry I'm late. Just parked in Abilene on my way to the oven in Phoenix. Oh, that's cool, man. I'm still up here in Lubbock. I had planned to be fixing my truck right now and getting ready to roll in the morning, but life happened. I'm still working on the truck, and hopefully I'll get the tank back by tomorrow at noon, and I can go put it together. I'm busy making salad jars while watching Salad for the Road. Oh man, I love salad. The only problem with salad is that after you eat one, about 2 hours later, you're hungry again. Right before we went live, that son that's leaving out on vacation called me and he wanted to take us to Slim Chickens. So we went and ate at Slim Chickens with him. And then I ran over to the welding shop, and that's when they said that tank wasn't going to be ready today. So I rushed home. I was just getting ready to put out a video saying I wasn't, or I mean, put out a community post saying I wasn't going to be able to go live today. And then I realized I was able to. And I think a lot of people are going to be late tonight. It's kind of why I'm dragging this out because I don't know how quick the notifications go out. Typically, StreamYard and YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook like at least a 30-minute notice, and I didn't have a 30-minute notice today. I will say if I didn't want to go into owner operating, I would have stayed with USA. Don't go there is an owner operator, but if you're a company driver, it's a good company with good miles. Yeah, I've heard that Tim Back, who's been really a reliable source for this kind of information, has said that USA Truck, I'm going to remove his comments so y'all can see the website. He said USA is a great company for company drivers, but he doesn't recommend it for lease purchase. And I imagine it's tough right now. I know they get a lot of truck. Well, they've got a lot of places they get their trucks from, but their leases can be difficult, especially in this market. And honestly, I don't know why any of you would do a lease purchase right now when you can save up $5,000 or $6,000 and get a truck through Avery that's your truck, title in your name, take it to any company you want to. If that company treats you bad or screws you over, you can take your toys to another playground. But maybe you'll get lucky and end up at a great place like I did. USA is a pretty decent place to be. Yeah, that's. I know Tim was really happy there, and it was a tough decision when he got to thinking about leaving because he had a really cush deal there. Not me. I'm in Utah on my way to Oregon. I love going up that way. Pretty scenery, a lot less traffic, easier to find parking until you get into Oregon or up in Seattle and in that area, Tacoma. Then it can be kind of challenging to get parking. The International LT has area under the bunk area being accessible without raising the bed. Yeah, and I used to stuff like I had a tote that would fit in there, and I would pull it out like a drawer, and I would store food and stuff in there, or sometimes I would use it for dirty laundry and stuff like that. The sleeper area is laid out very well. Even the closet, the weird little shaped closet being on the ground with the step built into it, it works. You can stick a lot of clothes in there, and they don't get wrinkled because it's long enough that they fit in there good. Like in my Kenworth, they kind of roll up and they get wrinkled at the bottom. Luckily, I'm fat enough that it stretches the wrinkles out. But some of you guys with 6-pack abs, it might make you have a wrinkled shirt. Never tell them where you're going. We don't need any more competition. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to tell eventually, but right now we're going to keep that under our hat for now. My International is a 2021 with duals, no wobbly reverse on it. Oh, well, that's great. So I'm wondering if Tim's might have had super singles and that's why it felt kind of squirrely. The thing I'm talking about in reverse is you'd be in a tight dock somewhere trying to do, say, a 90-degree back, and you'd have your truck jackknife and you'd barely touch the gas and it would take off. And like I said, I learned that turning off hill assist made it a little better, but this was 2015, I think. I was working at Trucks for You out of Muskogee, Oklahoma, and I went in the safety department. I said, hey, we're going to have to get this fixed or I'm going to wreck this truck. And they said, all right. And so we took it to International, to the dealer there in Muskogee, and they sent an email to International Corporate trying to figure out a programming fix or something like that. Also, the little brick on the front bumper, and this isn't a slap at International, but those things have come a long way since 2015. And I'll be the first to admit they're not perfect now, but they're a million times better than they were back then. And Tim's kind of agreeing with me. Oh, yours did have duals. Their safety system is crap too, braking on you and backing you down when there's nothing there. All of them do that, and all of them seem to be getting better every year, but none of them are anywhere near perfect. Cheeseman sends me home even if it's deadhead or out of state. This home time I'm on a load from Ohio to Alabama, but they sent me home to Georgia on the way. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Cheeseman. A lot of people have said that's a great place to work. Yeah, the Max Force A24. The one I had in 2015, 2016, whenever it was, it had an A26 and it was a great motor. One of the techs back then said that they did have some problems with some valves burning up on some of them. I never had that problem. But you know, if you're scared about an International engine, you don't have to worry with Avery and the guys over there because he said those have the Cummins ISX15, which I've had a lot of experience with, and it's a great motor. Had one on my Peterbilt at Dart. If you ever get to Iowa, we will have to meet for dinner. Yeah, email me, and I'll give you my phone number, and we'll stay in touch. I do go to Iowa sometimes. I love going to the Iowa 80 truck stop. So you never know if I'm in that area, and if you're talking to me regularly or emailing me regularly, you may get the chance to see me somewhere. Hey, Wesley, thanks for being here. Hello, Miss Limousine LLC. It's Pilot because I'm not affiliated with them. There you go. Hey, look who's here. I'm a little late getting to his comment, about 8 minutes, but Cassius King Trucking is here. Hello, my friend. Thank you for being here. If you missed the first part of the video, I was talking about it's been a rough week since Wednesday. I've been broke down, well, officially twice now, waiting on parts, hoping to be back up and running tomorrow. Maybe leave out day after tomorrow, first thing in the morning, if I can find a good load. Hey, Todd, Travis here, checking in from Durant, Oklahoma. Yeah, good old Durant, Oklahoma. I've been there before many times. Heartland Wireless Cable was based in Durant, Oklahoma. And also a preacher that I listen to on CD sometimes I don't know if he's still in Durant, Oklahoma, but he was from there. Guy's name was Dwayne Sheriff. I got a notification within a minute or two. Oh, wow. That's good. Wesley, I would tell you that it's worth every penny. Let me tell you why. Because even if you do a lease purchase somewhere, you're going to put that money down, but you're going to do it in a different form. You're going to do it in escrows. You're going to do it in higher weekly payments. You're going to do it in maintenance accounts that they're going to keep your money and draw interest on, when you could be setting that money in a bank and you drawing interest on it. And so I would encourage you to save up. I wouldn't tell you to save up 5,000. I'd tell you to save up maybe 7 or 8,000 at least, maybe 10,000. That way you've got the money to get the truck, to get your feet on the ground, and then if you have an out of the gate issue, you've got the money to get it fixed. And then don't go home and polish the chrome and show your neighbors. Get out and work. You're going to have 3 weeks with no truck payment. Build that nest egg up, and you'll be in good shape. Cassius King said he worked for USA Truck in 2006. Lots of gravy dedicated lanes. There you go. That's I've said that on here about pretty much any company though. You think of the worst company in trucking, whoever you think that is. If you think it's Swift, Western Express, CR England, doesn't matter, Western Flyer, somewhere within that company there's a driver that's happy. He's on a dedicated run. He's making the exact amount of money he wanted to make. He's driving the truck he wanted to drive. Now, he may have worked there 20 years, but every company has their niche, their thing that they're good at. And so you just have to shop around. I might get on here and say, that company's terrible. Cassius King might get on his channel and say, I'd never worked for that company. But if you live in the right spot and you're willing to do what they need done, they might have the perfect thing for you, even if it's not something me or Cash or somebody else would want to do. That the tank that controls airbag and air ride seat. Yeah, and I'll tell you something else it controls that's really important. The automatic transmission. So I can build my primary tank up, but you can't shift it into gear until that secondary tank has pressure. And we were trying to get enough pressure in that secondary tank that after that guy welded it, that we could move it inside my son's fenced lot at his shop. And you couldn't move it 10 feet. I could get the brakes to release off the primary tank, but I couldn't get it to shift into gear. And so, yeah, that had it been a manual transmission, I might have could have made something work. Under my bunk in that area of the International, I have an Alpi Cool freezer and a tote of kitchen stuff. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Cassius King, he's done a lot of cool stuff with his truck, experimenting with different things. I guess one of the neatest things as I saw is a guy took out his passenger seat and made like a whole cook station there. And he had it low enough below the door that it didn't block his view or nothing. But his truck basically turned into a kitchen when he parked. And it was a pretty neat setup. Of course, it'd be terrible if you ever wanted to take your wife or one of your kids or something as a passenger. Ramon here. Yes, sir. Glad you could make it. Sorry the notifications went out late tonight. I am at home. Been here technically since Wednesday. I got here Wednesday afternoon, put the APU in the shop, delivered all day Thursday, and then Friday morning started working on that air leak, and that's where kind of everything fell apart. If you go back and catch the first part of this video, I kind of talk about what happened and how we got to where I'm at. The tank is actually at a metal fabrication shop right now, and they're fabricating a patch for the tank. And it was supposed to be done today. I guess it didn't get done today, so it'll be ready tomorrow. And then I won't have my son to help me put it back on, and I'm going to have to try to wing it by myself. 2020 and newer Internationals have 12-speed Eatons. Oh, that right there would make all the difference. The one I had a 10 speed, and I was not a big fan of it. But if they went to a 12 speed, if I'm not mistaken, that's the same transmission that my Kenworth has, a 12 speed Eaton, and it's a great transmission. I'm doing good, Fearless. How are you? Just at home a little longer than I planned to be. Worked out good. Stepkids came to town, got to hang out with them. Don't get to see them very much. Introduced me to, or I introduced them to some family that they had never met, and so it was a good experience. I hope they get to come back again soon, and hopefully I'll be here when they do. Swift wants me to come back. You gonna do it? Hey, Mark, glad you could make it in, my friend. Yeah, it's 105 here. That's crazy. You know, it. There's certain parts of the country that they've never seen 105, or it happens once in their lifetime, so they don't know. They don't know the struggle we go through down here. It's hot. You get in your car, you turn the air on full blast, and you can feel cold air coming out of the vents, but it doesn't feel cold in the vehicle for a good 20 or 30 minutes. Heck, mine would take off in reverse on idle. I didn't even have to touch the pedal. I wonder if it's like Tom Bell said, though. I wonder if you had the 10 speed instead of the 12 speed. Yeah, I had a real negative experience there. I've shared it in some other videos, so I'm not going to go into it again. But I got cheated out of pay on a load, like completely cheated. And you guys know how I overreact about money if I don't get paid what I'm owed. And so I knew the second they called me and said, Todd, I'm sorry. I know we said we were going to pay you for that load, but my boss overruled me and we're not going to pay you. I knew I was done. That moment, I immediately started looking for another job. And when I got to Laredo, I turned the truck in. And so, some of you may come in here and go, "Oh, Trucks for You is a great company now. They've turned the corner and they're a lot different than what they were back then." And that may be true. I wish them the best, but I'd never work for them again, or at least I don't think I would. Never say never. I love USA Truckload. Last 2.6 years making killer money. Yeah, Mark has always done well at USA, and I've seen his settlements. He's not just blowing smoke. He's always done well there, and I think him and USA have worked well together. Have y'all heard about the prime driver missing since June 13th? Checked in at a shipper receiver and sees. No, I haven't heard anything about it. I'll have to look into that. What separates USA Truckload versus a lot of lease purchase? 100% control the asset when you work, when you don't. I have a lot of data. Yeah, that's really the way it should be anywhere. But I realize, I can't tell you. Now I'm gonna have trouble scratch my head, and now I can't get my hat straight. I can't tell you how many companies I've talked to over the years that they say, "Oh, well, we require our drivers to stay out this many weeks, this many months," and they're not supposed to be able to do that if you're an independent contractor. It's supposed to be up to you. But anyway, now that we're almost an hour in, let me remind everybody, go in there and hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you're not subscribed, and share it out to your social media platforms. That really, really helps me out, and it makes it to where YouTube suggests the video to more people and more people see this. Tell your friends. It's a real laid back environment here. Have them come in, chat with us. They'll have a good time and they'll appreciate you telling them about the channel. And I'll really appreciate you. I was happy until now. Got loaded on Friday. Lumber dedicated load. I was 3,000 or 30,000 in the rear trailer. Oh yeah. You guys might remember Roadrunner did that to me on a load, And I went through 2 scales and was fine. Went through a third California scale, and I ended up having to pay $1,200 out of pocket to have some freight unloaded because there was no way to scale it legal. And all they would have had to do was flip the load around, put the heavy stuff in the front, and go lighter in the back, and I could have scaled it. But yeah, it left a sour taste in my mouth too. I need the passenger seat because my coffee maker, I mean, my wife. There you go. With Swift, I would need to be home on Sunday, and on Friday, I would get a load from Texas going to Indiana if I refused. Yeah, they tried that with me, and I would just tell them, I'm going home. Call me when you get something, but I'm not leaving till Monday anyway, so don't even start looking till Monday. And if you kind of get that I don't care attitude, they find stuff. But if you're the driver that's calling them, but I gotta have a load, you're begging them. I've got a truck payment. I've got bills. They like that power trip. So just be like, if you ain't got something, that's fine. I've told the story where I was in, I believe I was in Las Vegas, and I needed to go home for a doctor's appointment. And they were saying, all the loads we have go to California. And I told that planner, I said, there's a hotel right in front of me. I'm going to give you 2 hours, and then I'm going to the hotel for the weekend. And I said, if I'm still sitting here Monday without a load, I'm just going to deadhead to Texas. And sorry, I got some kind of fly getting on me. Anyway, about an hour and a half later, he had a load going straight to Plainview, which is 50 miles from my house. And they had swore up and down that they didn't have any loads. Now, is that coincidence? Maybe. But they found one, and you just can't let them see you sweat. And that's how they force guys to take loads they don't want to do, is they tell them, well, that's all we got. That's fine. I'm going home. Call me when you get something. I'm thinking about it. Well, there you go. Let me know what you decide to do, Wesley. I'll be curious about that. Hey, Joe, thanks for being here, man. I'm still working on the truck. I talked about it kind of at the start of the video. I hope I'll have it fixed tomorrow and be rolling day after tomorrow. We'll see what happens. The missing prime driver's wife went there. His truck was there, both cell phones, truck keys, and everything. Man, that'd be kind of scary. That would not be a good deal. Sometime truck breakdown to make you spend time with the family. Yeah, but it's a lot more time to spend time with a lot more fun to spend time with the family when you got a bunch of money in the bank. But I'd been out several weeks working, so it's not a terrible time to take home time. But I had planned to come home on a certain day and leave on a certain day, and that plan kind of fell through. So I get my health insurance from healthcare.gov on the marketplace. Um, Basically, you can qualify for some loopholes in there if you're self-employed, and I'm not a tax advisor, and so this is just what I've been told. Take it with a grain of salt. Consult your own professionals. I'm also not a lawyer, but basically, as an independent contractor, you don't make any money. Your truck makes money, and then your truck pays you. So your salary, and I'm drawing this a lot from when we've had trucker CFO on and things like that. Basically, you have to pay yourself a reasonable wage according to him. And so I figure my insurance on there with me at what I estimate my income will be. And I receive some subsidies as a result of that. And then at the end of the year, if I'm off a little bit in a good way, then it's fine. If I owe them a little, then I owe them a little. But it results in me getting pretty good coverage at affordable rates. Now, you guys know I'm a fairly conservative Republican. I don't associate with that party, but I'm what they would call a conservative in political realms. So, I was against Obamacare when it was going, but once it goes through, I'm going to take advantage of all the benefits and loopholes that are available to me. And so most of you, 60 to 70,000 a year, you could put as your net income for healthcare.gov, and you'd be safe. Some of you, if you don't make a lot, could put 50 and be okay. And I think you'll see some pretty big savings on healthcare when you do that. Michael said he worked there back in 2002. I actually talked to Mercer at Matt's and was going to have them on the show to talk about what they have to offer. I'm going to have them on a Tuesday show. Ha, got him. They are one of the people that's in my list of people that I just got to call and set it up. I think they'd be a good fit for a lot of people, but I don't think they do. I don't remember if they do lease purchase though. I think you have to have your own truck already. Maybe somebody could clarify that for me. I've talked to so many companies and thought about bringing them on the show that a lot of their details run together in my mind. Hope that Prime driver's okay. There's a lot of mental health issues in trucking, in my opinion. That would be a good show. Reach out to a mental health doctor and have them come on. Yeah, I agree, Mark. The thing I would say about mental health in trucking is a lot of guys are afraid to get help. And you and I both know guys that they're depressed. Some of them are probably suicidal, and they're afraid to get help because they're afraid they'll lose their CDL. And I would like to see the laws change to where if a guy is suffering with mental issues, that he could get help, and as long as his healthcare provider says he's okay to drive, then he's okay to drive. Kind of like they do with CPAP and everything else. But right now, I mean, if you're diagnosed with bipolar, you can lose your CDL, you can lose your medical card, and I think it prevents a lot of people that need help from getting help. And I know some of you are going to disagree with me, and that's okay, but I'm just giving you my 2 cents on it. I'm going to have to drink some water again. Sorry. All righty, let's jump back in. I was 3,000 pounds over. Have to wait at night. Georgia scales close at night. Yeah, that stinks too. Howdy, Todd. Just now calling it a day at QT in Joplin, and thought I would check in here. I appreciate you being here, Daryl. They usually got some pretty cheap fuel at that QT. I say the missing Prime driver got abducted by aliens and will turn up soon. Did you guys see that? Now that you bring that up, Tim, there was a family in Las Vegas that claimed they had 2 aliens in their backyard, and they kind of got it on video. And the thing that always gets me about these videos, it's always blurry where you can't see nothing. And they said that their vision was blurred when they saw it, that the alien had some kind of ability to blur their vision. But you could see something there, but you couldn't really tell what it was. And the men in the dark Suburban showed up and put cameras on their house, and somebody reported it to the local news, and then the same people showed up and took the cameras off their roof. And something happened there. I don't know if it was aliens or if it was a military something or another that went wrong, but it was kind of an interesting story. And the family was going to do interviews, and they got intimidated, and now they're afraid to do interviews. I don't follow all that stuff too closely, but I saw that story and thought it was pretty interesting. I'm a lifelong Republican, but I'll cash any check that Biden sends me. Yeah, I guess I'm the same way. I'm all against that kind of stuff, but I find myself taking advantage of it too. Now, I want to be very clear that I don't cheat. So I'm not lying about my income. I turn everything in at the end of the year. And if I misguessed it, if I put 65 and I make 70, then I pay the difference of what the subsidy would be for that 5,000. But yeah, if it's, if it's just like in football, if you could start at the 25 on a touchback, or you could start at the 35 because the other side committed a penalty, you're going to start at the 35. You're going to take every advantage that's available to you. Um, and same thing with this kind of stuff. If there's an advantage available to me, I'm going to take it. Now, I'm not going to dishonestly take it, but I will take anything that they write that helps me, even if it's something I originally opposed. I have to be competitive with other businesses in my genre. So with Mercer, you do have to have your own truck. Again, that's why this deal with Avery works so well, because you could get a truck with him. You could go to Mercer if you wanted to. If you like the mega carriers, you could go to Swift with that truck. If you like the Landstars, you think Landstars where it's at, you could go there. Advanced trucking, it's up to you. They don't care where you go as long as every week you make that payment. After being at Christensen for 15 weeks, I learned never have your dispatch and lease at the same place. Yeah, I didn't realize, of the times we've talked, I didn't realize you had ever worked there. I'm curious because a guy I used to talk to a lot is over there, and I actually know some of the people in the office, and I was about that close to recommending people go there, and then I heard some things that concerned me, and so I would like to hear your perspective on them. I don't want to turn this show into a trash session where we trash them, but sometime when you're emailing me, I'd like to hear the details if you don't mind. Pray for me. I have bladder stones taken out on Monday. All right, man, I'll do it. Hey, Speed Shifter, thank you for coming in tonight. What were the main reasons you chose F2F? So I really like F2F's model. I knew several people in the office. Um, they were very familiar with me from the work I'd done at Swift and from the YouTube channel. And I'd hung out with several of them at Matt's at the Mid America Truck Show, and I really wanted to run the spot market. They had really nice trailers. There was just a lot of things that in their deal worked. Their insurance was cheap, and so I still like them. I still think good about them, but it just that accident really messed things up for me working there for now. Now they're still fighting with the insurance company, and they may get that worked out. But even if they called me tomorrow morning and said, "Hey Todd, we got it all worked out, come back," the place I'm working now, this guy's been so good to me that I couldn't leave. It now if he got influenced by somebody and did something crazy to where I felt I couldn't work here no more, then yeah, you never know what might happen 3 or 4 or 5 years from now. But right now I can't see me doing anything different than what I'm doing. But F2F was great to me. I met upper management in the company, learned a lot about them, spent a day at their terminal, and they're a pretty good outfit. They just that accident messed everything up with them. Oh boy, it's been a crazy week with the truck. I talked about it at the first of the show. I don't want to bore everybody that's been here by circling around and cover it again, but if you get a chance, kind of scroll back to the start of the show. Got the APU fixed. That was a fiasco. And then now I'm dealing with a leaky air tank that's $1,100 and has to be handmade, according to the Packard dealer if I need one. Would take several weeks to get. So I've got it at a metal fabrication place, and they're currently trying to patch it. It's supposed to be ready today, and they said hopefully they'll have it by tomorrow. Right Way to Truck is here. Good deal, man. Glad you could make it. Mercer consists mostly of owner-operators. They do have some contractors that have fleets and will hire drivers to fill their seats. Yeah, I'll tell you the reason that I was a little nervous to bring them on the show and talk about them is they do a ton of flatbed and step deck and things like that that quite honestly I don't know a lot about. And I'm sure some of you could interview them a lot better than I could and could ask them a lot better questions than I would or do. And so at some point I may bring them on, but if I do, I'll need my flatbed audience to really show up and tell me what questions you want answers to, because I'll be a fish out of water there. Now they do some dry van, but that doesn't seem to be their primary focus. But I did talk to them. They seem like a good group of people, and I don't mind having them on at some point. Wesley says his surgery is next Monday, so all of y'all say a prayer for Wesley. You heard the Greyhound bus that crashed on I-73 trucks were parking a rest area ramp. They're trying to blame on the trucks. Yeah, that happens a lot. I think every truck driver out here is guilty of at some point parking on the shoulder to go to the bathroom or having to park on a shoulder, even if it had no parking signs, just because of the parking issues. Now, I want to clarify there are some ramps and rest areas that designate that it's okay for you to park on them, but it's never safe. And if you're at one that has no parking signs, you could be held liable if there is an accident. I personally, I haven't seen the pictures yet. I have heard about the accident. I don't see any way that it could be anybody else's fault but the bus driver, because he hit a parked fixed object. And if he's on the roadway and he went off and hit trucks on a ramp, he was off the roadway. So I would think, and again, I'm not a lawyer, not a police officer, nothing like that, but it seems like he did what they call failure to maintain his lane. But, anytime there's an accident, they're going to look for some way to make it the truck driver's fault. That's they've had studies about this, and I don't know if you guys have seen the studies, but they'll show people pictures of an accident, and something like over 80% of people automatically assume it's the truck driver's fault. Oh, the truck driver fell asleep. Oh, the truck driver was texting and driving. When actually the statistics is the flip flop of that. Over 80% of the time, the accident is the car's fault. But we all see a wreck, and we're all guilty of it. We see a wreck while we're going down the road. And in our mind, part of our mind goes, I wonder what that truck driver did. We don't think, a car could have caused him to have that accident. So hopefully it'll all work out. But it's a shame. Those three truck drivers who were parked on the ramp are likely to need an attorney. Yeah, I'm getting to the point in my life where I'm not too sure we don't all need one on retainer. One that we send $100 or $200 a month, and then we got them when we need them. I had a mixed review on those prepaid legal services. I used one in Oklahoma City, and he got one ticket dismissed for me. The second one he didn't even try. And so I think they're kind of hit and miss. But the question is, if you do put a lawyer on retainer, do you need a defense lawyer? Because these three probably need a criminal defense lawyer. Do you need, what kind of lawyer do you need? It's just, it's sad that the world has become so litigious or litigious, however you want to say that word, that the first thing everybody thinks about is they want to sue. People will show up and want you to get out of their truck and fight them. And you get out and fight them and you win the fight, and then they want to sue you for giving them what they wanted. It's in the old days we'd get in a fight and the fight was over, you'd just shake hands and go drink a beer together. Now you want to sue each other, or you want to go home and get a weapon, or you want to go get your three big brothers to come help you. It just, people don't have any dignity anymore. You know, that's what was weird about that story, and I'm sure you could find it on YouTube. Just type in the search deal Las Vegas alien, and it's less than a month ago I seen this story. But they were very credible. It was a Hispanic family. They had three sons, and you could tell they were legit scared. Now, could it have been a wild animal? Possibly. They did hear something crash out there, and several neighbors say they reported it too. But you know, Las Vegas, that Area 51 out there, they're testing all kinds of military aircraft. It could have been a military aircraft crash. It could have been, you know, recovery people recovering stuff. But it's a strange video if you hadn't seen it. And the first time I watched it, I didn't see nothing. Then they did a close up of it. Dang, whatever's biting me. They did a close up. I think we got mosquitoes in here. And when they did the close up, you could see something back there, but it was hard to tell what it was. I showed every compensation statement from Christensen plus a 15-week wrap up. It's on a playlist on my channel. I'm the most transparent one out there. Yeah, I wish everybody was like you if that's what you did, because there's guys like Tom Bell that they'll show their settlements, but they'll pick like 4 or 5 of their very best ones, and that's what they'll show. When you do a 15-week straight one like that, it's going to show home time. It's going to show good weeks, bad weeks. So the way Tom did it is a lot more honest way to do it. And so, yeah, good for you. And I'm going to go back and watch it. Like I said, I'm not leaving where I'm at. And even if I did, I probably wouldn't go there. But I am curious because I've got a guy that I used to be really good friends with that's working there right now. Yes, I am in a travel trailer. This is a open range 2910 RL. Uh, it's an ultralight. Basically, it was the biggest camper I could get and legally pull with a half-ton pickup. I love my pickup, and I didn't want to have to upgrade pickups. And the goal was, we were living in a house. The goal was to live in this for 2 years and then buy a house. And I've been in it. September will be 3 years. And it makes sense for me because I'm in a very nice place here in Lubbock. They take care of the yard. They're building a hot tub right now. They've got a heated pool, a regular pool for kids. There's a gym, laundry. I mean, it's a very nice facility. And so I've kind of enjoyed it as much as I'm out on the road and traveling. It's just nice to come in here and crash. Now, having said that, as recently as this week, well, as recently as today, I was talking to a realtor about a house. So I don't know how long we'll stay here, but my wife and I both enjoy it a lot more than we thought we would. And we hadn't been in a real big hurry to get a house. Tell you another thing, I've got a lot of family in East Texas, and it's nice to be able to close the slides in and take it over there and see family and stuff like that. And so, yeah, that's what we're doing. Well, Westrock rejected me for 3 sheared off rivets. Oh man, that stinks. Mercer's all owner operator. They have a dry van division and flatbed. Yeah, and they do some step deck and stuff too, from what I understand. I just if I do that one, I need to set it up several weeks in advance, and you guys need to bring in all your flatbed, all your step deck people, friends that are doing it, because y'all are going to have to carry me through that show. I don't know near as much about it as you guys do, and I don't want the show to suck. I'll ask them some dry van questions, but they'll even tell you that's not their bread and butter. Bread and butter. That's just kind of some extra there. They're a flatbed company for the most part. What's up, Life on 18 Wheels? Glad you could make it in. Sorry the notifications went out late. Those trucks were on the ramp full of no parking signs. It's not looking good. Oh, well, if that's the case, Yeah, I mean, bare minimum, they're going to get no parking tickets. But, even unless they can show that they were legitimately broke down there, and they better have had their triangles out and everything. But um, people are getting more and more where they disregard no parking signs. And I don't know what's I don't know what's going to happen. I would think there's probably going to be some lawsuits. The thing that goes through my mind though is even if those trucks wasn't there, the accident still would have occurred. And if that bus had went in that rest area, there could have been a lot more injuries and fatalities. So as bad as it was for those trucks to park there, they're probably a little bit of the silver lining too. That's why you don't tell anyone where you work. Yeah, I'm selective who I tell, but if I know a guy that and I had a guy this week. As a matter of fact, he's mad at me that he wanted to know where I worked and he wanted me to recommend him, and I wouldn't tell him where I worked and I wouldn't recommend him because I didn't think he'd be a good fit for the company. And it's tough to do that to people, but he didn't have the experience I felt he needed. He had had a bad experience with another company I was familiar with. And so I said, hey, I'll help you find a company, but I don't think this is the one for you. They are saying 22,000 Teamsters will lose their pension and health benefits at Yellow. We'll see what happens. I heard that Yellow got it worked out and everything's going to be okay, but their creditors are going to work with them and all that. But I've not heard anything in the last couple of days because I've been working on the truck so much. So it's very possible y'all have got more updated information than I do. Isn't it true bud drivers can drive more than us? That's, I'll leave that question for you guys. I don't know. Mercer, they have a dedicated load from Laredo to Miami, flatbed, jet ski, Sea-Doo. There you go. And then they've got a return load out of Miami. So the place I bought my truck was Cordell Truck Sales in Dubuque, Iowa. But, I don't recommend going to the website because honestly, they sell trucks faster than they get them in. And they have stuff that's not on there that is available, and they have stuff that's on there that's already been sold. And I would recommend calling Avery, telling him that you want what Trucker Todd got, and going that route just because we have continuity. If you call on your own and you get some Joe six pack that doesn't know what's going on, you're going to have a not similar experience. And then you're going to say, well, Trucker Todd, I called Cordell and my experience wasn't like that. And first question I'm going to ask you, was your salesman Avery? Well, no, I talked to John Doe or Chris Smith or whatever his name is. And, this is going to sound mean. It's going to sound condescending. Follow simple instructions. Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel or create a new road, you've seen it works for me. I've got another friend named Randy. It worked for him. I got another friend, Tim Back, that's in here tonight. It's working for him. Just follow the path I've already created. I've already done all the hard work for you, made sure you're going to get a good deal, that you're going to get a truck even with credit issues. Don't try to reinvent the wheel and then be frustrated when it doesn't work for you. Right there at the bottom of the screen on the ticker, you're going to see Avery's number. And he's already at home. Don't call him tonight, but give him a call in the morning and tell him you want to know more about what Trucker Todd was talking about, and he'll get you fixed up. Yeah, that's the sad thing. No matter what we do to these truck drivers, if we throw them in jail, if we sue them, if we write them tickets, it's not going to bring those 14 people back. And it's a shame. Nobody woke up that morning and made a decision planning to kill somebody. Drinking and driving, you could say, well, they made a decision to do that, knowing there's a chance they could kill somebody. those 3 truck drivers that parked on that ramp, they didn't park there thinking, oh, I might kill somebody. They parked there thinking, hey, my logbook's almost up. I need a place to park. This rest area is full, and I'm only going to sleep here, my 10 hours and leave, or I'm going to split log it and I'll be out of here in a few hours. But their decision to park there, whatever happened with the bus and his decisions, led us to where we're at now. And we got at least 14 families that are going through a pretty rough spot in their lives right now. So we just need to say a prayer for all of them and kind of keep them in our thoughts. Mercer does some RGN too, but those guys are specialized. Yeah, there's so much to Mercer. If I book them to come on a Tuesday show, I'm going to book them 3 or 4 weeks out, and I want you guys to get all your flatbed friends to come in, all your RGN friends, people that know a lot about it, because like I said, I won't have the questions. And if you can't be here on that night, I hope you'll email me good questions for them, because I want it to be a good show. I want it to represent them fairly, but I want it to represent us fairly too. I don't want us to go in there looking like a bunch of boneheads. Bringing someone that does hot shot for a living. Are you saying you want me to bring some hot shot people on here? Howdy, no fear. Glad you could make it. I never park on shoulders. Being an OO, it's too risky. I'd rather go in violation than park on a shoulder. Well, maybe. Now, there's some places, I talked to some companies a while back that said they would automatically fire you if you ever did it. But there's some places out west, especially, where it's so far between towns that they have dirt lots on the side of the shoulders that are designed for trucks to park in. There's mountainous spots that they have those asphalt pullouts for scenic views that are designed for people to park there. And so sometimes you got to park in those places that are designated for trucks. And, instead of us closing rest areas and punishing fit people for trying to obey the law, I would like us to put more emphasis on people paying attention while they're driving. Why are these cars hitting trucks that are parked in these rest areas or on the side of the road? Why aren't they getting over like they were taught to do? Why don't they have a good following distance? I mean, I've seen cars recently pass semis on the shoulder. Why are they getting away with that? Instead of finding something else we could blame trucks for, let's figure out why these people are such bad drivers and why they're so attentive in driving. We talk about, distracted driving, text and things like that. And I look out my driver's window and almost every car that goes by me has a cell phone on their lap and they're looking down and texting while they're driving. And I mean, at the bare minimum, get a phone mount and use talk to text. My pickup and my wife's car both have touchscreen radios in them that you just touch a button on your screen, and it will type out whatever you say and send the text. It'll say, do you want to send this text? And you say yes or no. If you say no, it'll let you re-record it. If you say yes, it'll send the text. You never have to pick your phone up. That way you can keep your eyes on the road. And that's what we need to do, is we need to really focus in on these people that are doing stupid things behind the wheel. And that's just my opinion. Like I said, I know a lot of you are going to disagree with me, and that's okay. 3 dead on the bus, 14 injured. One of the drivers was hauling sausage. He said he had to shut down because he was out of hours. Well, and you guys remember a couple weeks ago, I had a really good debate with one of the people that's here in the chat tonight about flexibility in the logs. It would have been great if that guy could have found a place to park sooner, or if he could have went another 30 minutes and found another place to park. But I've been out there in places where that's not possible. So, um, yeah, that's what I would say about that. I'd like to see a little bit more flexibility, but until we get that flexibility, the laws are what they are, and we just got to make better decisions. I'll tell you something. All of us with small kids need to be teaching our kids how to drive and the way to do it. And simple stuff. If you get pulled over by the police, how to behave, what to do, uh, so that we're not having all the things we're having happen in the world right now. And all of us need to be more diligent about finding parking and working within the confines of the law as best as we can. I live in a 42-foot Montana camper, but only there 2 or 3 days a month. Yeah, see, I actually like it. We had the step kids stay with us the last few days, and we were fine in here. But we don't have. Obviously, it wouldn't work if we had 3 full-time kids here or something like that. But right here next to me, we've got people that live with multiple kids, and they homeschool and they do all of that. But I really enjoy it. It's been a lot of fun. And a lot of people say, "Are you going to get rid of it when you get a house?" No, we're still going to use it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting a house at some point. I'm going to set up a room in the house as like a studio to do the videos at when I'm home. And so there's a lot of good things coming. We're just not quite there yet. What do I think of buying from an auction? You just got to be careful. I assume you're talking about buying a semi or a travel trailer, either one. I'm going to give you the same advice for both of them. Try to take somebody with you that can check them out. Typically, the trucks, a lot of times that are at the auctions, have something wrong with them. Know what you're buying before you buy it as best you can. If you've got time, I like Purple Wave auction. I've bought some stuff off there before. Just Google Purple Wave, and they've got a lot of good stuff on there. Try to get out there. Some of their auctions are several weeks out. If you could go by and look at it, take a mechanic with you, look it over so you know what you're bidding on. That's always the best. But on a used vehicle, car, truck, camper, anything, you never really know. There's always something that could go wrong. So it's a little bit of a crapshoot, but sometimes you can get some really great deals. Do they finance? I'm going to assume that you're talking about Avery and those guys. Yes, they have a special program. If you ask for Avery, where they do finance trucks, even if you've got bad credit, they can do good credit, bad credit. But you just tell him you want the Trucker Todd program, and he'll get you fixed up. And oftentimes, like I was talking about the trucks earlier, they got trucks around 300,000 miles on them with APUs. Maybe that's what you get. Maybe you get a truck with a few more miles on it, like I did, that is fancier with Kenworth, and it's just I don't know what he's got available, and it's constantly changing. The best thing to do is just call him and say, "Hey, Avery, I was talking to Trucker Todd. I want to know what you got," and let him look for you. Let him ask you some questions, see what he can get you qualified for. But they do specialize in working with people with credit challenges. Wesley said yes. That'd be great. I might have to bring you on for that, Wesley, when you're feeling up to it, because I think you'd have a lot of good information. I think your guy does lease purchase on Hot Shot. Super Trucker Dan, that's the YouTuber that's been at Mercer for 10 plus year. Well, there you go. So any of y'all interested in Mercer, check out Super Trucker Dan. I'd never heard of him, but 18 Wheeler says he's a good guy. No alien here, I-77 North Carolina, 2 a.m. Seen a lady riding a white horse, I think. There you go. No Fear says, okay, thank you. Yes, sir. Um, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I did the same thing when I was at Swift and I was trying to find a truck insurance for everybody. I tried to find something that would help the most people. And I was sitting here and I was looking at all these people. Because after I wrecked the Volvo, I was looking at all these people that were going into these lease purchases, and they'd get at the company and 6 or 8 months later things would change, and they'd want to go to another company and they couldn't take their truck, or they were with an SFI truck and SFI would say, well, you can take the truck but you got to pay so many thousands of dollars in a transfer fee. And I said there has to be a better way. So basically what we've created is a lease purchase that doesn't have a company involved. So the truck title's in your name. Well, actually my truck title's in the name of Trucker Todd LLC, but it's not in the company's name, and then they'll sign it over to me at the end of the lease. So the title's in my name. And so I'm making payments on a truck that's mine. Now, what's that doing? That's helping my business credit and that's helping my personal credit. So it's a win-win, and really it's helping my business credit, but it would hurt my personal credit too if it went bad. So I've got a vested interest in taking care of that truck and getting a lot of use out of it. And it's been a great truck. It's had its hiccups, and we're working through them like the air tank right now. But I knew pretty quick into this deal that it was a good deal that I could recommend to you guys with a clear conscience. And you never know, at some point we may bring Avery on here and talk to him and see if he can give some details in here. But their inventory's constantly changing. They are super busy. There's a really, really good chance when you call Avery tomorrow, his line's going to be busy or he's not going to answer. But if you'll leave him a voicemail, he'll call you back just as soon as he can. Oh, by the way, I mentioned this earlier in the show, and I mentioned it for this reason. I'm reviewing this headset. It's one we're going to be talking about in the channel in a few weeks. How does it sound? Can you guys hear me okay? It's a solar powered headset, and I can't wait to tell you guys about it, but I want to know how it sounds. I'm going to remove this so y'all can see the website too. There's the website if you need to get a hold of me. If you want more information about some of the things I've talked about, they're on the website. Also, you can email me at todd@truckertodd.net. That information's running in the ticker as well. The description of the video has a lot of great information. So I hope you'll reach out to me and let's get a conversation going that'll benefit all of us. Okay, thank you. No Fear says, sounds good. That's great to hear. Sounds good. Coming in loud and clear. I'm going to go back and watch this video too. I'll tell you what I'm curious. I'm curious if it sounds better than the one I normally use. I know with this one being solar power and it says it charges in all kinds of light, I have yet to kill the battery. Last Lap Logistics says it sounds good. Thank y'all for the quick update on the audio. I'm glad it sounds good. We're at an hour and a half. Things are still putting along well. We're got over 50 viewers. So we're going to keep chugging along, answering your questions and talking about whatever y'all want to talk about, as long as there's people here wanting to do it. No Fear says it sounds better than the other one. They're going to love hearing that, because I'm going to do a real review on them, and that means I'm going to stick a mount on the side of my driver's door and walk all the way around the truck with you guys watching to see if the sound breaks up anywhere. And you guys will be able to hear it. You'll be like, it won't just be me saying, yeah, I walked to the trailer and walked to the back of the trailer and I could hear fine. It'll be y'all listening, sound quality, all of that. So you're going to get a true review. It ain't just me trying to sell some headsets. But anyway, I got to yakking. There's the website again. Y'all check it out. I'm really proud of it. I'd never had a website before. It's a pretty simple design. It's not Not the fanciest website you'll ever see, but it does the job. And quite a few people have been going to check it out. All right, what else have y'all got tonight? Anything going on y'all want to discuss? Yeah, they do. They sell trailers as well. They have two different programs on trailers that I'm aware of. And I almost bought a trailer from them. The guy that I'm working for ended up making me a deal to where it didn't make sense to buy a trailer yet. But at some point, situations change. If I felt like I needed a trailer, they're a little pricey, but I'd probably get one from them if I ever really needed one. So yeah, for your truck and trailer needs, contact Avery and he can get you hooked up, tell you what they got available. I believe they have reefer and dry van. I don't know if they have flatbed or not, but as I said, availability is constantly changing. Just call them, see what they have available. Have a good night, Ramon. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it, my friend. Yes, sir. I run the spot market. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. They do have a website that you can look at their trucks. The problem is it's constantly changing. It's possible that you'd find a truck on there you like and it's already been sold, or it's possible what you want's not on there, but they do have it. And the best thing to do really is just to contact Avery, tell him what you're looking for, tell him how much down payment you got, and let him go to work for you and see if he can find it. He may say, "You're dreaming. I can never get that." He may say, "I have four of them in the back. What color do you want?" I know right now he said he can make you a killer deal on an international with a Cummins and an APU. But if you're hating that idea, he's got other options as well. You need to call him, and the website will get you kind of a point of reference, but it's in no means the end all be all of what's available. What's the average rate on the spot market? I could give you the national averages, but it really depends where you're at and what you're hauling. I had a load I was supposed to pick up. Well, when was it? Yesterday. That was going to pay 358 a mile going to Colorado. But I can tell you that's on the high side. That's not normal. A lot of guys are pulling stuff around $2 a mile. But there's guys that are pulling it a lot cheaper than that. Some guy told me, or a guy told me earlier on the phone that a friend of his pulled a 700-mile load for $600. And he got upset with him. He's like, "You're the reason spot market rates are like they are. You're pulling that load at a loss under $1 a mile." And so, yeah, that's the problem, is that people they don't know their numbers and they're just taking anything they can get. And there's some loads on there 50 cents a mile, some loads on there 83 cents a mile, and people are taking them. And I try to never dip below 210 a mile. And sometimes I have to. I ain't gonna lie. I pulled one for $1.58 a mile to get out of the Northwest, and still made money on it. But I try to make that the exception and not the rule. My blue parrot just died today. I'm interested in getting your headset if it's good. Yeah, I hope to have that video out in a week or two. Um, I'll tell you what we're working on right now. I think I'm gonna like this headset. So far, I don't have anything negative to say about it, but I feel like my listeners should get a discount, and not $5 off, $10 off. I want a big discount for you guys. I mean, like $50 off. And so right now I'm in negotiations with them for a promo code or something where I can get you guys a huge discount on this headset, because it's not available in stores or nothing like that. and they're supposed to be getting back with me. I've showed them a blueprint of what I'd like to see, and as soon as I get a decent discount for you guys, to where it's as cheap as truck stop headsets or cheaper, then I'm going to release all that to you. But I know there's guys like Speed Shifter that need one now, and so I'm going to try to get that information out pretty quick. And if he just wanted to buy the headset, I could get him one right now. But if he can give me a week or two, I can probably save him $50 or so. Well, thank you, Cash. I appreciate that. Said he got the ES card this week. Told him Trucker Todd told me about it. That's awesome. That's awesome. They're really good people. If you can, I'll tell you the way I do it, and you'll save about $1,300-$1,400 a month. If you can use the ACH feature, then you'll save yourself the transaction fees a lot. And the way you do that is put about $1,500 in there in a savings account, and each time you fuel, say you buy $600 worth of fuel, do an ACH for $600. By the time you need to fuel again, that money should be back in there. If not, you got enough to fuel one more time. And if you just do that, replenish it each time you fuel, you get to where you don't even notice the money being gone. And all of a sudden you're saving $1,300-$1,400 a month, and you got more money in the bank than you had previously. So I know Cash was using another card for a while, and I believe I use that same card sometimes. But I do a multi-pronged approach. It's part of my pre-trip. I look on several locations. Hey, there's sometimes Mudflap's going to be the cheapest. It just is. It'll be some little mom and pop someplace somewhere. Most of the time, ES Advantage will be the cheapest. Every once in a while, Nastic will be the cheapest. And you just have to make it part of your pre-trip. And you say, oh, Todd, that takes too much time. I ain't worried about 2 or 3 cents. Well, that 2 or 3 cents adds up when you're buying 150 gallons 2 or 3 times a week. I was watching 99-cent freight come off the load board. Yeah, and I heard Cassius King make a real good point in one of his videos recently. He was saying that right now, if you want to survive on the spot market, it's not necessarily, and I thought this was great advice from Cassius King. I watch his channel as much as I can for information just like this. He was saying that, you occasionally have to get loads from brokers, but what you really want to be doing is building relationships with warehouses to where you don't even have to use the load boards. And Cash was mentioning he's got people that call him directly and offer him loads that aren't even on the load board. And it's because they know he's going to deliver the freight in good condition on time, and he's got a reputation with them. And so as a result of that, he's getting better rates than what a guy that's just running broker loads all the time. Now, I've been out of the game a lot, so almost all of mine, with the exception of 1 or 2, have come off the load board. But yeah, I thought that was great advice that he gives. And if these guys want to starve hauling 99-cent a mile loads like Mark is talking about here, let them do it. But in the meantime, be that professional that, be clean shaven and showered when you go in these warehouses. Communicate with your brokers so that they're calling you and saying, hey, Trucker Todd, I've got a load. We hadn't even posted it yet, but it's a pretty good one. Do you want it? I know you're in that area. And that's where you want to get to. And so many people are just looking on the DAT board or looking on this board or that board instead of building those relationships. And I thought that was just a great point he made. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Yeah, I had the TVC card for years. They piggyback ES Advantage. Oh, all right. I looked at that card a few years ago, and I don't remember what the deal was. It seemed like they had a lot of fees associated with it, but I don't remember the specifics. I'll tell you the thing I like about ES Advantage, and I didn't mean this video to be a big promotion of them. I do have their information and just a quick link you can click if you want to get their card. I think you can get it for as little as $100. And I think if you tell them Trucker Todd sent you, you get 35 from them when you load your first load on there. But the thing I like is if you have a great idea, say you get on their app and you see something you don't like, you can call them directly or you can call me and I'll call them on your behalf. Because I know some of the higher ups over there. Well, I met the owner of the company actually, but I can call them and I can say, hey, this is Trucker Todd. One of my viewers had a great suggestion. Have you guys ever thought about doing blah, blah, blah? And they'll say, hey, Todd, that's a great idea. We're going to look into that. And I mean, quickly, sometimes within a week or two, they're implementing your idea. So that's something I always like to see in trucking companies and in people with that I partner with is guys that, you know, they're willing to take constructive criticism. You know, they're not going, oh, it's our fuel card and we'll do what we want. They're like, hey, that's a great idea. Or they might say, hey, Trucker Todd, we tried that once and we stopped doing that, and here's why. And so they do giveaways and all kinds of things like that. So the internationals with the APUs, I'm not sure if they're on Cordell's website or not. Avery just told them about them to me on a phone call today. If you look at the little ticker at the bottom of my screen, his phone number is getting ready to come up right now. It's showing my email. And then to get a truck like I did, even with credit issues, call Avery at 608 331 0336. If you just call that number, he can shoot you some pictures and some details and tell you about the program that I've set up to help people get their trucks. It's, you know, I think Cash would agree with me. Getting a truck through lease purchase is not the ideal situation. I realize, you know, if I went belly up, I might have to do a lease purchase again at some point. But if you've got the option to get your own truck from a dealer with a warranty and make and call your own shots where you work, when you change companies, if you change companies, it just opens up a lot of doors. So do the lease purchase without the company. You know, they say don't poop where you eat. Well, the same thing here. Don't lease your truck where they dispatch you. Get your truck from somewhere else and go take your shot. You might make it, you might fail, but you'll never know till you take a shot. And when I started doing this 26, almost 27 years ago, and when Cash started doing it back when he started doing it, we didn't have all the resources you have now. Heck, most of us didn't have cell phones. Most of us were stopping at pay phones and calling the family once or twice a week with those calling cards. But now you got lots of resources. You got me, you got Cash is King, you got DIY, you got all these YouTubers with years and years of experience. And if you think I'm full of baloney, you can listen to somebody else and you can take your shot with a lot of advice out there. And there's guys just like me that are willing to offer you advice. If you've got questions, you can leave a comment in their videos. Some of them even give you their phone numbers, and I do on some occasions. And so that your chances of succeeding are probably as great now as they've ever been. But you just got to decide why you want to do it. I think that's the most important question. And if the reason you want to do it is you want to make more money, don't do it, because I can't guarantee you, Cash can't guarantee you, Mark can't guarantee you. None of these people can guarantee you you're going to make more money. Now, you probably will, but there's a chance you can lose everything. And if you're not willing to take that risk, don't do it. Now, if your reason is you want to own a truck and you're willing to go through the sacrifice, go for it. If your reason is you want a little more freedom, go for it. If your reason is you want to be in control of maintenance, go for it. That was one of my main reasons. I got tired of being a company driver and going to companies and them halfway doing the maintenance when my safety and breakdown time is on the line. I wanted to call the shots. Do I get recaps or do I get virgin rubber? And so that was a big influencer in why I did it. But yeah, that's, if your deal is you want to get a truck so you can brag to your neighbors and you can sit at home all the time, don't do it. You're going to fail. And I always get nervous when your very first question to me is, how often can I go home? And because no business starts saying, how often can I be closed? You know, uh, when the restaurant goes to the bank and says, "Hey, we need to borrow money to open a restaurant," they don't show up with a business plan that goes, "Hey, we plan to be closed 5 days a week." When Walmart opens a new location and they do a 5-year projection, they don't say, "We plan to close our doors 3 days a week." They just don't do it. They're like, "Hey, we need to be open." They do market studies. What hours will we be the most profitable? What hours will it die off? And they base what time they'll close based on store needs, not how little can they work. So, Gary, I've talked about this a couple of times. The name of the dealership is Cordell Truck Sales in Dubuque, Iowa. They're pretty easy to find on Google. I actually don't recommend going to the website. I know most of you aren't going to listen to me, but they really are. Trucks are flying out of there, several a day in a lot of cases. And for you to get the most accurate information, I really recommend calling Avery and telling him you want the Trucker Todd program and letting him work with you to get you what you want, because you're going to get on there and you're going to go, "I want this kind of truck," and you're going to see it, not see it on the website, and you're going to go, "Oh, well, they don't have any," when Avery might have 3 of them and they just hadn't had time to take pictures, or he might know about 2 that are in make ready getting detailed that'll be ready in a few days, but they're not on the website yet. And that's why I recommend just calling Avery direct and let him email you some pictures. Let him talk to you about the trucks, things like that, and go from there. Jesus' name above all names. What's happening? Good to see you. Good to see you as well. See, for example, right here, Cash looked on the website. They got a couple of nice Cascadias. And yeah, Cash likes Cascadias. I believe that's what he's in now. But I think Cash is getting to where he likes Western Stars. I've seen some Western Stars on his channel lately that made me drool as well. Yes, they do have some Hirschbach trucks. My truck was a Hirschbach truck in a prior life, and I even have the previous truck number for it. But they also get some other ones from some other places too. But with Hirschbach being based in Dubuque, Iowa, they do get quite a bit of Hirschbach in there. Hey, John, glad you could make it. Um, I talked about you earlier in the show, but I didn't mention you by name. I was talking about you driving an international. I'm going to try to call you after we go off air uh, and tell you about the week, since you didn't see the start of the video. But it's been a crazy week. Yeah, this is a great point right here. I've heard Cash make this point as well. If you can make it while the market is down and freight is slow, then you're going to really flourish when things pick back up. And especially if you're doing like Cash is doing and building relationships outside of the load boards. So, I mean, their rates are going to go up too when the market bounces back, whenever it is, next week, next month, 3 years from now, whenever, if it ever comes back. So you're always going to be better off if you've got, a guy. And I had a guy when I worked at Dart that really liked me because of my name, my legal name, because I go by my middle name, but my legal name is the same as a baseball player that's pretty famous. And he always teased me about being that baseball player. He's like, "When do you find time to drive a truck if you're playing baseball?" And he thought I was a big baseball fan, but I didn't know anything about baseball. It's not a sport I typically follow, but I learned a little bit about baseball and built a rapport with him. So we would joke about baseball when I'd call him. And as a result of that, I got a lot of good loads out of that guy. I booked the majority of my loads through him. And so it doesn't hurt. Now, you can call it kissing up, you can call it whatever you want. I never viewed it as kissing up. I would treat, those of you that talk to me on the phone, I laugh and joke with you the same way. To me, it's not kissing up, it's just being friendly. And yeah, it's business at the end of the day. But if you can make a friend while you're doing business, why not? Okay, sounds good. Plus, I want to hear how your orientation went. Wow, man, the time flies when I'm on here. I wouldn't know we were on the line so long if I didn't get a sore throat from talking, but we've been going almost 2 hours. You guys make this a lot of fun. We'll keep going till the views drop or till I run out of water, whichever happens first. Okay, what else you got? That was always a problem at Swift, too. I would tell people to contact Michelle, and people thought, oh, it's Trucker Todd just trying to get a referral bonus. There he is trying to make money. And so they would just Google Swift Transportation and they would do an application. And then they'd call me a week later. Todd, Michelle sucks. I did an application a week ago and she's never called me back. And I said, all right, let me call Michelle, see what's going on. She'd say, Todd, I never got an application. She'd say, let me do some research. She'd go look and find out they did a company driver application, which is entirely different. And they didn't put her as the recruiter, which she couldn't do company drivers anyway. And so her application went to somebody else that was trying to contact them about working there. And so then I'd say, all right, I'm going to send you a link. You got to do a whole new application. You just wasted a week. Oh, well, this is BS. I can't believe this. And they're mad because they couldn't follow simple instructions. Had they just clicked the link I gave them, they would probably already be on their way to orientation. And there's a lot of people on there saying, oh, well, I'm going to go to the website, and then they'll just contact the dealership through the website. And then they'll contact me later and they'll say, well, I had a bad experience or nobody ever called me back. And my first question is always going to be, did you talk to Avery? No. What number did you call? Oh, I just called the 800 number. Well, that's your problem. I gave you Avery's cell phone number. Call him or text him. Tell him what you're looking for. Tell him a little bit about yourself, your experience. I picked him for a reason because he's good. I picked him because he knows what I expect, what I want to see. He's gonna get you in a good truck and you're gonna have a positive experience. And now it's not gonna happen as quick as you want. May take a week or two. Some of you want instant gratification, but it's going to be worth the wait. You're going to leave there in a truck that's going to make you money that you're going to be proud of. And so that's why I specifically say call Avery. That's why I specifically say, tell him Trucker Todd sent you. Do I get a referral bonus if you do that? Yeah, I do. But I mean, don't do it if you don't want to. Go at it alone and see what happens. Maybe you'll have a good experience, maybe you won't. I'm just trying to help you, and it's up to you if you want to accept that help or not. You wouldn't leave me for Rangers baseball, would you? My dad would. My dad does not miss a Rangers baseball game on TV, and he goes a couple of times a season to check them out in Dallas. Nope, I left Swift a few months ago. I had bought a Volvo for cash from one of my viewers and good friends, and I ended up wrecking that truck, totaling it. When I got the insurance check, I bought a truck, and I'm back running the spot market again, which is what I wanted to do all along. I love running the spot market. I love the challenge. I love the negotiation. I love being responsible for everything. If there's a mistake, there's nobody I can be mad at but me, and I love it. Wesley was answering. Leo, no. I was in New Jersey on Monday. I see a lot of outside carriers or owner operators pulling. No, that was here's where I'm going to put on my Swift hat and defend them a little bit. A lot of people feel that way, but what they don't realize is Swift has an entirely separate division called Knight Swift Logistics that has a lot of people pulling Knight Swift Logistics freight, which is different from Swift Logistics freight and Knight Logistics freight. So, in my mind and in your mind, we might think, well, Knight Swift Logistics is a competitor to them, and in some ways they are. I would like to see Knight Swift Logistics move some of that freight over to Swift and Knight until things get better so that they can keep their own people running. But that is a separate division. Another thing to remember about Swift, they have so many trailers that they rent a lot of their trailers out, especially in peak season to like FedEx, UPS, people like that, Walmart. So um, you might see a trailer out there and you might think, oh, that trailer, they're taking away from a Swift driver. When in reality, it may not even be Swift freight on that trailer. They may have rented that trailer out to another company during a peak season. But that was a source of frustration for a lot of Swift drivers when I worked there. And even till now, I still have people that call me and complain about that. Nothing wrong with a little brown nose, keeps you humble. So I really can say I don't feel like I do any brown nosing. The owner of the company I worked for uh, called me today. We laughed and joked on the phone, and I didn't feel I didn't. I guess the difference is brown nosing. You're not genuine. This guy, I genuinely like him, so there's no brown nosing. I'm being nice to him because I like the guy because he's treated me fairly. He's been friendly to my wife and I. So brown nosing would be if I was being friendly to him, and then when I got off the phone, I told my wife, "Oh, that guy's a stupid idiot." That'd be brown nosing because I wasn't genuine. I don't feel this way. I was telling, well, a guy that was in the chat earlier, he may still be here. I was telling him on the phone the other day that that's one of the reasons I like this guy. He's a driver. He spent this past weekend putting a starter and 4 batteries on his truck in his driveway. So he knows when I say, hey, I'm frustrated because I'm broke down, he gets it. He's been there. When I say, hey, money's a little tight this week because of a breakdown or because a load canceled or something like that, he gets it. He's been through a similar situation probably recently. And then we can laugh about it and move on. A guy that owns a company that his dad handed down to him, or a guy that owns a company that's never drove a truck, it's just a investment to him, or some of these venture debt capitalists that buy companies, they don't have a clue what we go through out here. And working for a small company where the guy's a driver himself, and not just a 2 or 3 year driver, he doesn't have as much experience as I do, but he's got quite a bit. And sometimes I call him for advice and information. And if he's got something he can add, I want to hear it. And so that's what I'd say about that. I don't feel like I brown nose because I'm genuine, but I'm sure if somebody saw it, they might take it as that sometimes. It's a lot of it's just my personality. I'm going to do my best to be friendly to everybody until they leave me an option where I can't be friendly no more. I'm doing great since the accident. I don't have any aches, any pains that weren't there prior to the accident. I'm 50 years old, but I still get a little rattled sometimes in certain traffic situations, and I'm not used to that. I have coping mechanisms like when I drive through a big city, I'll turn on music, and music kind of keeps me calm while I'm driving. But yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks, man. Are you happy with them purchasing US Express? What he's talking about is not Swift purchasing US Express. I really don't have a dog in that fight, and I don't think most Swift drivers do. It's my understanding they intend to keep the company separate, that they bought them because US Express had a lot of dedicated accounts they're interested in. Um, I think the net benefit will be for the US Express drivers and the variant drivers. I never had a very high opinion of either of those companies. And Night Swift was not perfect by any stretch, but they were pretty good. I made the most money I've ever made there with any trucking company, hands down, without a doubt. So I uh, I wish them the best. I think for US Express, it's going to create a lot of opportunities. I think they might see some improvements, especially to the terminals and things like that. And probably in the next couple of years, better equipment as well. Not Swift, and I don't know as many people at night, but Swift especially, there's a lot of good people there, and even people that you might think I don't like, other YouTubers at Swift and stuff. You might be surprised to know that I've had text conversations with some of them as recently today. Now that I've left there, some of the YouTube drama has died down, and I talked to two of the office people this week for different things, and so there's not the hostility and stuff that a lot of YouTubers put out there and made it seem like there was. But I like Swift, and you'll never hear me say I'll never go to work there again, something like that. I just don't see how I could at this point because I mean, I've got everything I want except a paid off truck. If I won the lottery and paid my truck off, I'd have everything I wanted, a paid off truck, running the spot market, doing my own thing. And so, why would you leave that? I don't, I always talk about vertical moves. I'm not sure where my vertical move is from here. Some of you say, well, go out and get your own authority and then hire trucks to lease on, kind of like what the guy you're working for is doing. Maybe that's a vertical move. Maybe it's not. I'm not at a point credit wise or financially where I could do it yet. Maybe one day in a few years, maybe not. When that time comes, I'll evaluate it. I'm sure I'll call the owner, and he'll give me counsel on it. I'm sure he'll be against it. He'll probably want me to keep working for him. But we'll have that discussion when it's something that could be a reality. But yeah, they were great, and I made a lot of money there. And I'll tell you what, this week when the truck was breaking and finances was tight, um, I'd be lying if I didn't think, man, if only I was at Swift right now making those big checks. But Swift was making a lot of changes, and I'm not sure they're the same place that they were even when I was there a few months ago. And I have no idea what direction they'll be going in the coming months. So you can't be looking back saying what if, woulda, shoulda, coulda. You just have to make a decision and live with the consequences. But I can tell you my stress level's a lot less now, except for the truck. This tank has to get fixed in the morning. But yeah, that's what I'd say about that. I'm going to quit rambling now. What a lot of people forget about that you already have done a lot of the footwork. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they we had this problem at Swift too. Swift had two really good owner operator recruiters and several mediocre ones. And I mean mediocre on a good day. And so I had done the legwork and I'd say, call Michelle. And if she doesn't answer, call this person. And people were so worried about, well, what if Todd gets a referral bonus? What if Todd makes money off of that? Instead of thinking, hey, Todd did a lot of legwork here. Todd knows who's good, who's bad. Todd also knows who to call if things go south. If there's a bump in the road, Todd knows who to call to get it fixed. And so they they wouldn't want to do anything they thought I might benefit from. And really, the only one's going to benefit is them. If I tell you to use my name, it's because I believe it'll help you. And so what? if I get a couple of dollars out of the deal, it's not going to affect your pay one way or the other. They're not going to say, well, we were going to give you a brand new truck, but since we got to pay Todd a commission, we're going to give you this old jalopy we got out back. So, I mean, if you can help me and help yourself at the same time, and if I can help you have a better recruiting experience, why wouldn't you? And what people don't realize is, and there's people in this chat right now that can vouch for it. I've recommended people go to companies that I don't make a penny off of. There's a guy in the chat right now that's coming to the company that I'm at just because I said it's a good company. He told him Trucker Todd sent me. I'm not getting a referral bonus, but I told him to mention me because it's going to give him a better experience. They know that he has my recommendation. I know he's a good driver, and he knows the company's good because I'm not making anything off of it. It's just a good company. And speaking of that, if you won the lottery, you probably buy Night Swift. No, it depends how big the lottery was. The last time I saw it was like 500 million. If I won 500 million, there probably wouldn't be a truck in Trucker Todd's future. I'd probably just do videos and travel. Now, here we go. Speaking of lottery, next Powerball is 1 billion. If I won $1 billion after taxes, I'd probably get 600 or 700 million. Maybe I would buy a trucking company at that point. You never know. I would definitely. There's some people I would take care of, friends, family that they've helped me out, not necessarily monetarily, even guys that have given me an encouraging word when I needed it, or maybe guys that loaned me money at one time when I needed it, or something like that. Because I mean, you could give away. You had 700 million in the bank. You could give 20 people $5 million, and you'd still have, a ton of money. That you'd still have 600 million. You wouldn't spend that in a lifetime. So I'd probably take care of close friends, people that's been good to me, and of course family. Not all family, but the good family. We've all got good and bad ones in each of our families. But my problem is I don't play, especially this week. Did they make a decision on the accident? Whose fault, etc.? That's another great question. And, that question came up in a phone call early this morning. And man, I got another mosquito or something over here. I can't get rid of it. And the truth is, I have not contacted F2F for any additional updates. These kind of things move slow, especially if there's going to be litigation involved. I know nobody's told me it's okay to speak about it. And I doubt I'll ever get a call where they go, yeah, we're going to be glad if you get on YouTube and talk about it. I'm sure at some point I'll just throw caution to the wind and start talking about it. But yeah, it's something I am curious about. The problem, and this is a weird problem, but the second I call F2F and start talking about this, they're going to think, oh, well, if we fix it, Trucker Todd wants to come back. And while they were a great experience, a great company, right now I have no desire to go back there, none whatsoever. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. And so it kind of makes the issue a little smaller for me as long as I'm happy doing what I'm doing. Now, this is I don't know, maybe not a black eye, but it's definitely a bruise that needs to get dealt with. So I'm going to have to look into it. I'm trying to give all the parties involved time to do their due diligence. But yeah, I don't really have a lot I can share yet, but it's probably something once I get back on the road, I'll start delving into a little more and seeing if I can get some answers or if I can get some clarification about if it's something I can talk about or not. F2F is using two different insurance companies. And I'll be honest, I wasn't impressed with either of the insurance companies. It's kind of the right hand don't know what the left hand is doing type deal. And so it may be hard for me to get a straight answer because one side might say, yeah, it's finished. Go ahead, say whatever you want to. The other side may say, no, we're still working on it. So I've literally got to call three parties. I've got to call F2F and both of the insurance companies. And they've all three got to agree that it's okay for me to talk about it. And then I hope I can share updates with you. But if there's any legal activity taking place, then this could drag on for years before I could say anything. Well, if you haven't been charged by now, I would say you're in the clear. Yeah, I've never felt like I was in danger of being charged with anything. My concern was for the two people that were transported to the hospital, and both of them, I was told, the police, I talked to two different policemen, both of them described their injuries as very, very minor, and they didn't even think they were going to get an overnight stay, probably some Tylenol and sent home. And I'm not going to lie, I was concerned about the truck. I was concerned about my equipment. I was concerned about getting another truck where I was going to work, if I was going to be able to stay at F2F or not. Most of those things are selfish things, and I get that, but the far most important thing is everybody's okay. Um, I've always said, and I mean this, if somebody dies in an accident that I'm involved with, whether it's my fault or not, I don't care if it's a drunk driver. If somebody dies in an accident that, even if they rear end my trailer, uh, somebody dies in an accident, especially a kid, I don't think I could drive after that. And I think that'd be my last day truck driving. So I'm relieved that nobody's hurt, and I'm not worried about any criminal charges or anything like that. I don't believe I did anything wrong. I know there's some pictures that make things look bad for me. I've seen those pictures. I've also seen pictures that people said was my truck and it wasn't my truck. And I've heard some stuff on YouTube that was very close to factual. And I've heard some stuff on YouTube that was pure fiction. And so maybe one day soon I can talk about it. But for now, I'm just glad everybody's okay. Cars can be replaced and things like that, but people can't. And so as long as everybody's okay, then I consider it a really good thing. And like I said, I'm not worried about any charges coming against me. I wasn't texting and driving, which I'm sure they've checked my phone records by now. I wasn't nodding off. My logbook was in order, things like that. I had just started my driving shift about an hour and a half before that, so I wasn't fatigued. It wasn't at the end of the shift. I was about 5 miles away from my delivery. So, yeah, I look forward. You can tell by how I'm really trying to restrain myself right here. I'll look forward to the day I can tell you guys what really happened. Wish you the best, Todd. Oh, yes, sir. It would be, I'll tell you, it would be fun showing up at your high school class reunion and running into the teacher that thought you were a loser and you'd never amount to nothing in life. And then you're like, oh, I turned out all right. I'm a billionaire, or, or I'm a multimillionaire. I think that'd be fun. Or if you had somebody that made fun of you in school or bullied you or something, I just, I think it'd be fun for them to see you arrived. And I've already experienced that to a degree. My son has people go by his shop pretty frequently, and they're like, "Hey, I saw your dad on YouTube. He's doing really well. He's got a nice truck. This is going on, that's going on." And they're like, "I had no idea." And so that's kind of fun too. I can just imagine that being amplified if you won a lottery like that. But here's the downside to it. You'd have family you hadn't seen in 30 years. Hey, Trucker Todd, we're really struggling. We know you just won 7 or 800 million. Could you loan us some money? And by loan, they mean give. They're not going to pay you back. And having to say no to some people or close personal friends. I mean, I've got some close personal friends that if you handed them $2 million, it'd kill them. They'd drink it up. They'd party it up. It'd kill them. So having discernment and knowing who to help, who not to help. I imagine every charity in the state you live in would contact you constantly for donations. And if you said no, they would talk about what a stingy, selfish person you are. Then the slip and fall people. People wanting to mow your yard and then getting injured and trying to sue you, or trying to provoke you into a fight and then suing you if you swung on them or anything. I think there's definitely a downside to winning a lottery. You might have to move to a city where nobody knew your name and just, dang mosquitoes. Might have to move to a city where no one knew your name and just start over, pretend like you were a retired fireman or something like that, just a regular income guy. They would come out of the woods. And you guys, speaking of that, you guys know how my luck's been lately. So here's how it worked. I'd win the lottery. I'd get a check for 750 million, 800 million, and I'd start spending it. I'd spend probably 100 million of it. And then I'd get a letter. Hey, Todd, we accidentally sent you that money. Your ticket wasn't a winner. We need you to send it all back. And of course, I wouldn't have it all to send back. And they'd say, oh, well, we're gonna foreclose on your house and impound all your stuff. And multiple people are gonna sue you. And so 6 months after winning the lottery, I'd be the brokest guy that you ever met. And all these trucking companies would be like, well, we're not going to hire you. You were rich and now you're broke. So I'd always be nervous that I was going to lose it just as quick as I got it. The picture I shared with you last week where the airplane landed on I-10, the pilot was trying to switch fuel tanks, which he couldn't do, so he had to make an emergency landing. Oh, that stinks. Yeah, I didn't realize airplanes had that. You remember a lot of pickups and even some vans back in the day had 2 fuel tanks, and you could switch fuel tanks while you was going down the road. And now my current pickup, my son's pickup, he said it has like a 22, 23 gallon tank. Mine has a 36 gallon tank. So instead of putting 2 tanks on them like they used to, they just put one big one on mine. And you can spend some money filling it up, but it'll run, 500 or 600 miles on a tank. That accident sounds like a setup. Someone could be looking for an insurance claim. Oh yeah, that's something I wish I could talk about. Um, when I am able to talk about it, Michael, do that comment again and I'll tell you a story. Huh. I would get to know Elon Musk and I'd be on one of the first flights out. There's I think it's on Amazon Prime, where William Shatner kind of briefly went in outer space for 12 seconds and it shows him floating around up there and all. That's kind of a neat kind of documentary thing if you hadn't seen it. One of the big, I can't remember who it was that sent him up, but it was a pretty cool deal. And William Shatner's like in his 90s now. I think he was like in his 80s when he went up. They are going to get you every time for poor trip planning. I always preach, look for a place to park. Pushing your, yep. I agree with that. There are things that happen though. You've got it trip planned out, and then something delays you, something that you can't use the exemption for, like construction, that something happens in the construction or something. But for the most part, 9 times out of 10, you can plan and it's not an issue. Somebody really took me to task for that a few weeks ago. I believe once or twice a year you're going to have an instance where you're going to cut it really, really close, or you might go over 4 or 5 minutes, but 9 times out of 10, maybe 99 out of 100 times, you're going to be able to park if you just trip plan. And I've got a GPS that it'll tell you where all the rest areas are, all the truck stops are, and you can look and you can see, all right, I got 3 hours left, or I got 4 hours left. There's a really good place in 180 miles. I'm going to go to that really good place and park there. And that's what I do most of the time. I start in the morning and I look what's 600 miles out, and then I look for something in the 6 to 650 range and try to get there. When I take my 30-minute break, if it starts looking like that's not realistic, then I adjust it. But here lately, I've been doing a lot of shorter loads, so it's not an issue. I'll do 300 and 400-mile loads a lot. The rates are a little better, and it's next day delivery type stuff. And I did one the other day that was same day delivery. John has Tim saying hi to him. John is saying hi to Tim, hoping he's doing well. Yeah, the whole gang is here tonight, and I'm having a lot of fun with y'all tonight as we reach the 2.5 hour mark. Y'all are doing good again tonight. Everybody's on fire, putting up a lot of great comments. And so what else have y'all got you want to talk about tonight? I'm about to get things going. I know I've been preaching this for a couple of months. I'm about to get things going and really start doing Tuesday interviews like I've been promising I would. It's my truck's about 30 miles from me right now, and all that stuff is in the truck to set up interviews, the notes, the phone numbers, the emails. And so I just need to have me and that stuff in the same place at the same time, like on a Wednesday or Thursday, and set it up for Tuesday. And I'll get y'all some interviews set up, and we'll go from there. We'll try to learn a lot out here and have a good time. But the comments are kind of dying off. If y'all don't have anything else, we may wrap it up at the 2.5 hour mark. This heat has got me. You can tell by how red my face is. I've been out working all day. And wearing a red KW hat doesn't help much either. It makes me look even more red than I am. All right, I think I'm going to cut us loose right here. I want to thank everybody for coming in tonight, and we'll catch you Thursday night at 5 p.m. Central. By then, I should have been out of the shop and rolling. Let's see, we got another. Now, here come the comments. In Austin, you ain't fighting the Texas heat and wind in that camper. Ain't you scared? No, so I'm in a really nice place. I got a lot of trees around me. It's fenced. I got other permanent residents around me. I'm in a really safe location. Sometimes the trailer will rock a little bit when you're walking through it, and that may be what you're seeing in the video. But it's not even that windy here right now. It's just a light breeze. As a matter of fact, I may let the awnings out in a minute. The heat, I've been out in it all day. Well, not today, yesterday especially. A little bit today, but a lot yesterday. And over the weekend trying to get the truck going again. But yeah, it's definitely been hot here. We've got heat advisories everywhere. John called Tim after the show and then called me after that. I don't want to interrupt y'all's call, but I need to talk to John too. Yeah, catch the replay, Shannon. I've had a heck of a week with the truck. Yeah, I don't know how we're going to do this. I need to talk to John after the show, but Tim needs to talk to you too. I would say call Tim first, and that gives me time to get off the air, and then call me after you talk to Tim. Be safe, everyone. No Fear says. Good show, Todd. Call me when you get a chance. No rush. Yeah, I'll call both of you tonight. But John, call me after you finish with Tim. Bet I won the lottery would not have to worry about me going to see the Titanic. Exactly. Yeah, don't do that. All right, folks. I appreciate everybody being here. Sorry for the late notifications going out tonight. You guys that didn't see the whole thing, go back and catch the start, hear about my crazy week. And John and Tim, make sure you call me after the show. If I don't answer, just let me know that you're free and I'll call you back as quick as I can. All right, y'all take care. Have a great night. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one, Thursday night, 5 p.m. Central. Thanks, RCE. I appreciate you. We'll see y'all later. Bye bye.